Thank you all for coming. Thank you for having us. So what do you need to know about this book? So this is the beginning of my book, and there are three main characters. There's Jake, the narrator that you'll hear. He's sort of a guilty pleasure. He's a science fiction novelist in his mid-50s, prone to bad behavior. Later in the book, it also looks at his estranged son, Finn, and his much more famous, recently deceased ex-wife. Her name is Kate, and you'll hear her name. And the problem really is that he decides to take her final manuscript and pass it off as his own. And when Jake does that, his missing book, which you'll hear about, this second book, it appears online for free, chapter by chapter. It starts to cull lines from all kinds of work from other people, and it starts to write itself. So that's where the book is headed. Anyway, this is the beginning. Time slows when you're curled up against the ceiling. You don't think about the kinds of things you'd imagine. I don't remember my son's first words, nor the weight of my wife's death, nor the strange letdown the day my first book was sold. Not the smell of fishing on the pond with my grandfather, not the clumsy electricity of my first kiss behind the hedge in 6th grade, nor the taste of her strawberry lip gloss. There's no room for thought or memory, smell or song, only the metallic tang of realizing this is how I'll die. But I don't die. I wake up. Because I'm choking on mud as my house begins its slide down a Los Angeles canyon wall. There's a roar and a slush as the house tears off its stilts, plucked from its foundation by the heavy rain and a lack of ground cover, and my home changes shape. It crumples around me into a plaster and furniture basket of reeds. My stomach and my head heave as I'm thrown from my bed against the wall that is now the ceiling, and mud swims through the open windows above and shovels me inexorably down. Today, I'm 52 years old, and the earth has swallowed me whole. Look, we grew up unfazed by natural disasters because they're so goddamn regular. When earthquakes hit, we stumble from bed into the arms of the nearest door frame, and then we shuffle back to sleep. On hot summer nights, some kid's cigarette bursts into life and torches our hills and scrubby pines and fat cat estates. We ignore the warnings to evacuate and stare mesmerized in lawn chairs as the fire gets closer in the darkness. A mudslide is different. The air tastes like iron and blood. My eyes burn. I yelp and cough and try to swear. I panic. The room convulses. It rolls, and my hands push against the soupy blackness that drags me down, head down toward the south wall. My ears roar with the low groan that happens when concrete and steel and wood have all learned suddenly how to swim downstream. My body hangs briefly in the air, an inverted question mark. And my left wrist crumples beneath something dark and heavy. And then my mattress, that queen-sized masterpiece of comfort control, throws itself against me and shelters my head as the house plumps down to the valley that does not yet know what it's in for. The house rolls as it nears the catch basin, and I'm pushed up through the gaping tear that used to be those expensive French doors, that used to lead out to my redwood deck, that used to overlook my well-dented pool, which used to give you a hell of a view of downtown far off on a clear night. The house rattles my teeth in its descent, and just as abruptly it slams home, immobile, as miles of hillside flow past. A boulder crashes close to where I hug the deck, flipped like some cat's eye marble by careless giants. My legs shake with shock, and I weep. Even prolific novelists like me weep on occasion. Not with sadness, not loss, not self-pity. Those are coming. It doesn't even occur to me then that the novel I spent the last 3 years writing is completely, irrevocably destroyed. I weep because dead writers are clustered around me in the semi-darkness. And it's a little unnerving. H.P. Lovecraft jabs me in the ribs with a stick. Edgar Rice Burroughs and Philip K. Dick lean over me, and once I stop crying, they rummage in the wreckage for valuables. Mikhail Bulgakov and Daniel Defoe are over where the kitchen used to be, checking for copper pots. J.G. Ballard, he's too busy trying to impress Patricia Highsmith to notice me at all. Andre Norton and James Tiptree Jr., each born Alice, walk past Raymond Chandler with an armload of my best suits. Bob Heinlein squats. Hell's the matter with you? Don't lie there blubbering. Act! Stephen King just shakes his head. Wait, I say, Stephen, I didn't know you were dead. I'm not, King says. Tourist visa. Research. Am I dead? Is that the secret, that the afterlife is segregated by profession? George Eliot says, this isn't the afterlife. This is foreshadowing. And then she reaches down, moving so slowly that I think I understand why her novels are so very long. And when she places her hand on my cheek softly, I realize it's Kate. It's my dead ex-wife. And then Kate slaps me so hard I wake up. I found the dude. My eyes break open their muddy seal and focus on a big, shitty grin. A strapping kid playing fireman, my neighbor's son. He places a heavy paw on my shoulder and says, "You're famous, man. The situation is fucked." I lift my head and look up the hill. My house is now one long, gray smear down the smock of the hillside. It's as if the mudslide sifted the building layer by layer and spread its contents to make it easier to sort from above what's most ridiculous about my life. The most recent extravagant purchases, acquired after my book, The Kronos Conundrum, was greenlit by the studio, are scattered nearest to where the crowd in ambulance have begun to gather. A woman peers up at my prized Robbie the Robot, one of the original 3 used on set in Forbidden Planet, which remains intact and is settled sideways into a nearby tree. My collection of pulp science fiction from early magazines to Golden Age trade paperbacks, over 5,000 books in all, is scattered in a long, lustrous fan, all jacketed in the same shade of clay. The private screening room at Great Vice is ripped open for all to see. The plush theater seats in an upended row, the projection booth, the great screen pinned to the ground by my imported clawfoot bathtub. The kid reappears with a paramedic. They bear a stretcher between them. "Can you walk?" asks the man. "Did you find him like this?" I open my mouth to try to tell him I'm fine, and can they just get the robot out of the tree? A hoarse growl emerges. They slide a board underneath and strap me down. I let out a cry when the kid cinches a strap over my rib cage and my wrist feels fat and gnarled. And then for the second time in recent memory, I'm carried up into the air. To my right, in what remains of my office, my writing desk sits at the center of a swamp of furniture. The desk looks miraculously pristine. All around it lie hundreds of wet, gray-yellow manuscript pages. The words have all been painted over in clay. My highly secret, vaguely anticipated novel has been ruined. Perhaps beyond repair. I can't see my computer at all. The printed manuscript pages, building all these months in a blue aluminum filing cabinet, have exploded down the hill in every direction. As they lift me into the ambulance, I close my eyes, and the pages transform into cats circling in an opened cage, restless and determined to scatter. Thanks.